Have you ever taken a bite of pizza and, oh my God, what is that? This is horrible. This situation is horrible. Or have went to take a bite of a cookie and it's just so stale? Or ordered your food and have it brought out cold when I know you didn't order chicken while freezing. But you know what's the worst? When it's finally 5 o'clock and you go to enjoy a funky, stale, flat beer? Double check. Did you just open this bottle? Nope. High hopes, but same stinky results. Let me save you some time and suffering. It's not you, it's the beer. Well, it's the beer in the bottle because it's in a bottle. The Lorax speaks for the trees, and I speak for the beers, specifically the beers in cans. My humble purpose today is to educate you how some features of canned packaging preserve the quality of beer by protecting it from factors that negatively affect the flavor and your beverage experience that are just simply unavoidable in bottled beer. After hearing the facts, you can start picking better packaging and tasting the better than bottled difference. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on drinking beer, but I am a beer expert. Aside from performing daily quality control tasks at a craft brewery, I also became a Level 1 certified Cicerone after passing an expertise exam with a sensory analysis portion. In 2016, I also participated in a quality laboratory program at the American Brewers Guild, and I'm also a member of the American Society of Brewing Chemists. Now, I'm not just a beer nerd, I'm a quality-obsessed, certified beer scientist. The attributes of can are not limited to benefiting the one type of beer from one beer company. Can packaging is scientifically superior across the styles and states. And speaking scientifically, can packaging is the best choice for beer distribution as well, because it protects the beer from exposure to light and oxygen as well as the carbonation level. Purchasing beer in cans is not only better for you, but it's better for the environment too. The proof is easy to see for yourself as I shed light on this. Since cans are opaque, they do not let light through as compared to using glass. When beer is exposed to light, the hop flavors begin to change. Light exposure is responsible for creating that skunky smell and taste. UV light creates a photoelectric effect on the hop compounds, and this is scientifically known as alpha acid isomerization. However, your taste buds know it as skunked beer. Now, brewmaster George DePiero of C.H. Evans Brewing Company states that this photochemical reaction is the only cause for skunked beer. And the saddest part is that it's completely preventable. Trust me, beer was never intended to be made like that. It was also never intended to have a papery or cardboard taste. That is another off flavor that cans protect against. When beer is exposed to oxygen, the flavor quickly degrades. The same oxidation process happens to your apples and guacamole, and when they're exposed to air, and nobody wants to eat those sad brown things. It's not easily seen in beer, so I'll have to help you prevent in drinking that. Bottles have this empty headspace portion under the cap, and oxygen easily gets inside under the crimped edges of the cap. Cans are sealed with a lid-on foam technique that makes sure there's no oxygen inside, just beer and carbon dioxide. The lids are actually tightly folded into and on top of each other, and it's called a seam. It's very much like a shirt seam with overlapping layers of fabric. Just like there's no skin showing through, there's no oxygen getting through either. Cans are excellent at keeping light and oxygen out of beer, but they're also great at keeping carbon dioxide inside of it. With can packaging, you experience a properly carbonated beer every beer. Canned and keg beer is actually carbonated before being packaged, and so the carbonation level has already gone through a quality control evaluation. Now, sometimes sugar and yeast are added in during the bottling process, and that relies on it to carbonate the beer. Not only is this not always reliable, but it also leaves a yucky and yeasty residue at the bottom. Besides being precisely carbonated, the beer stays carbonated. Just like that steam keeps oxygen out, it keeps carbon dioxide in. And along with that bubbly texture, carbon dioxide also positively contributes to flavor, perception. Now, while it might not change the flavor itself, it does affect, in a helpful way, how you perceive it. Can packaging isn't only better for the beer, it's also better for the environment. Comparing the empty weights of can to a bottle, the aluminum can is approximately 15 grams, while a glass bottle is 170 grams. In a lecture given to the Presidio School of Management's Principles of Sustainable Management class, it was reported that a primary aluminum can produced 529 grams of greenhouse gas emissions. Wow, that seems like a lot, but compare that to the 637 grams of greenhouse gas emissions used in a glass bottle. That 529 grams, it describes a primary aluminum can, not one made with recycled materials. In an article titled The Aluminum Beverage Can, which was published in the Scientific American in September of 1994, William F. Husford and John L. Duncan wrote that it takes 2.3 megajoules of energy to produce one primary aluminum can. However, that energy can be reduced by 95% of original energy costs just by recycling. However, all recycling isn't created equal. According to B.C. Upham, a writer for the New York Times, he stated that 45% of aluminum cans are recycled compared to a mere 25% of glass bottles. I think it's clear that if you want to think green, think cans, not green bottles. In fact, don't think about bottled beer again, except when choosing to avoid it. Canned beer is superior packaging choice in terms of quality and sustainability. The ability to block light, to block out oxygen, to block in carbon dioxide, all these block out negative flavor effects. But you don't have to feel guilty just thinking about yourself. And the better your flavor experience, think about your conscientious environmental contribution. Not only can you enjoy a beer with a smaller greenhouse gas emissions, but you can also up that eco-friendly factor by recycling afterwards. As I said, I speak for the beers, but the Lorax would probably throw in a thanks from the trees too. As a scientist, especially a beer scientist, I strongly encourage you to use your new knowledge and experiment for yourselves. In closing, here's a cheers to the can's package qualities. Its credibility will be confirmed with your next and better experience.